easy go.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Celtic Leaf, and today we are going to be going after every single boss in the first act of V Rising. Errol the Stonebreaker, Keely the Frost Archer, Rufus the Foreman, Horsewine the Ravenger, Grayson the Armorer, the Putrid Rat, Lydia the Chaos Archer, Clive the Fire Starter, the Ferocious Bear, Polara the Feywalker, Nicholas the Fallen, and finally Quincy the Bandit King. Now you notice that I didn't mention the Alpha Wolf, and that's because in the last episode I did on V Rising, I fought that guy. He was kind of a chump, and since then I have realized that V Rising, not all the bosses are chumps. So this is going to be definitely a fun experience, and I hope you enjoy the content. If you do, please like and subscribe, as it really supports me and helps the channel grow. Thank you. Alrighty guys, so first we're going to start off with Keely, the Frost Archer, and I gotta say she is one of those annoying first bosses that you're going to run into, because she has one attack in that first portion of her health before you hit that 50% mark. She'll go ahead and fire arrows at you and you will be frozen in the spot for like 2.5 seconds. Super annoying, definitely sucks. I would say the main strategy with her is to definitely just avoid those different arrows that she fires and then go in for the kill. I personally like to use the Chaos Bolt just because I think it does super good damage on her. And then the second and most annoying part with her is probably going to be her ability to just go ahead and disappear for, I don't know, like 2 seconds, and then you're just sitting there with your sword in your hand. Makes it super annoying. But as you can see here, I hit her with that nice little Chaos Bolt and her health just immediately dropped. And then now you can see her second attack as it starts to appear and crashes into the ground. It's really just a bunch of arrows that she's lining up in the sky. Pretty easy to avoid as long as you watch those red circles, and then you should be good to go. Where'd you go, Keely? Come on, get back here. Oh yeah. So your best bet in this fight is going to be from a long distance. You're not going to want to get up too close to her, or else she has a tendency just to teleport away anyway. So I would stay back, wait for her to go ahead and try and shoot those arrows at you, and then go in for the kill. Alright Keely, it's time to die. You ready? Boom. And here we go. Go ahead and drink in her blood. 1 down. Entire list to go. Sounds like a good time. Alright, so next up we got Errol the Stonebreaker. Now this dude, he definitely has a really annoying throw where he hits the ground and then right where it sparkles, it explodes all around you. Not to mention, he's not going to teleport on you or anything like that, but what he does have is he has a massive hit. And especially during that first act, you got to be careful not to get hit by that, or else it'll start draining your health like no tomorrow. Now, I found the best way is to just use spells in this game. You know, stand back at a distance, take out the little minions to the left and right, and you should be doing alright. You can see here that I'm trying to regain some health if I can, but you know, especially in the heat of a battle and everything like that, not the easiest thing to do. Would definitely recommend some quicker potions if you can get them. Now, he's almost to his halfway point, and then at that point it starts getting even more crazy, because what he'll do is he'll go ahead and hit the ground and it'll spread out literally everywhere, just like some massive kind of explosion that hits you. So right now he's not doing it, he's just trying to call his little friends to come and help him out, but we'll see if we can get him to do it during this fight here. Now his little like minions and whatnot, definitely not a big deal, but it could be super annoying when you're trying to go ahead and Balor him. Yeah, so see that? He hits the ground, it goes out in 4 different places. So you really gotta watch out for that. I have no shame to say that I died once or twice fighting him, and can be super frustrating, especially since this isn't really near a waypoint, and you gotta run all the way back. But, as we look up here, he's about to go down. Come on, buddy. Come on. See, his little minions get in the way and everything like that, and it's definitely not fun at all. Here we go. Errol the Stonebreaker, down and out for the count. And I'll see you guys for the next boss battle we got coming up. Alright, so then we got Rufus the Foreman. This dude is really one of the easier bosses. The first thing that I would definitely worry about though is his little friends. You can see Johnny, Jimmy, and Jackie here. All 3 of them are just going to try and keep on trapping you. And it is one of the most annoying things in the world, having to kill these little minions before actually killing the boss. Now, with this boss, you got to worry about that kind of teamwork. So if you don't decide to take out those little minions, you're going to be getting trapped every 2 seconds, almost the entire boss fight. Now, when it comes to him though, as long as you avoid those crossbows in the first act of the fight, you should have no problem getting right up on him, and his health will just start dropping like crazy. Now, as we get to Act 2 here, this is where things start getting a little bit more annoying, right? So that crossbow doesn't do a lot of damage, but as you can see right now, he's firing it like a freaking machine gun. So he's going Rambo on us just because he wants to keep his life going. Now, fair enough, but not really a big fan of that. As you can see here, this is throughout the entire fight. He has a special ability that makes this guy a lot harder to kill. But again, as long as you're high enough level, you should have no problem dealing with this guy. As you can see, I'm about to go ahead and kill him out. And Mr. Rufus the Foreman, I'm gonna drink your blood, and this is the end of you. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next boss fight. Alright, now you're more liable to just run up to this little Chaos Archer at random times during the game. Now, she's just going to be walking on these paths here, and let me tell you, she is nothing to sniff at. As you can see, you know, she likes to just run around in circles and fire her little arrows, but she'll fire them a bit quicker than the Foreman. But as long as you can try and stay out of the way, you should be alright. If you do get hit, just understand you're going to be losing probably at least 20 to 30 health, no matter what you do. Because that chaos is just going to start lighting you on fire, and as a vampire, you and fire definitely do not mix. I found that out like 1,000,001 times in the sunlight, because you'll just start literally exploding. Now, just like the Frost Archer, she has the tendency to go ahead and disappear and then start firing stuff at you. All the archers, it seems, are quick and nimble. But, like Rufus the Foreman, it's really easy to just go ahead and start running up on her. Now, apart from her firing 3 arrows every once in a while, she's going to occasionally fire those fireballs up into the air, landing on the ground. Now, you really got to watch out for those spots, because if you do step on them, you will just start, once again, incinerating. Never fun at all. Now, you can see her, she typically likes to stand in one spot, and then she'll immediately move. So there she is right there. I was able to get a good spell on her. You'll eventually, with how long her boss battle typically goes, you're going to eventually start running into people just walking down the main road who are just like, oh, look, a vampire. Let's go ahead and kill her. Now you can see that if you dodge that attack, again, you can just run up on her Usually right after she moves, she's going to appear in a random spot. So come on, Lydia. Now, see, what can happen is, as you can see, she'll start getting herself backed into corners, especially with rocks and trees and whatnot. And at that point, it's really easy to come up on her from behind and just hit her with those twirly swords of yours, and her health will start dropping even more. Now, what is nice about her launching those little meteors up into the air is that she can't move. And boom, there she goes. Just as the sun is rising, just as the bell rings. Alrighty guys, we'll see you on the next boss battle. Alrighty guys, so next up is Gorswine the Ravager. During the first 50% of the fight, for his health bar, he is going to use two main attacks on you. One, as you just saw, is going to be this bolt of energy that's just going to slow you down as soon as it hits you. Then he likes to follow up with a red circle around you, where he's going to go ahead and create this poisonous bubble. Now, something really nice to do, especially during these boss fights, is use two bosses against each other to go ahead and help you take them out. Not only does it help lower the health on the main boss that you're trying to fight, but if it's a weaker boss, you can go ahead and drink its blood and be immune to all attacks at that time. And then it'll give you a bunch of health to go ahead and get out of there. Now, I found that the best way to go ahead and combat him is to use spells at a distance. He is pretty slow moving. So as long as you kind of duck and roll, you'll be pretty good to go. Now, melee on him, if you can get up close enough, it's definitely nice. But it's not really the best option when dealing with him. Best bet is to stay far away, watch out for those red bubbles on the surface, and then use spells to go ahead and try and knock him out. Now, it might take a little bit longer just because he does like to teleport, does like to move around, and especially when he's in that bubble mode, he is immune from all damage. And then my biggest thing throughout the entire fight is to go ahead and utilize the Alpha Wolf if you can get close to him. Especially during the fight, Alpha Wolf has a tendency to spawn 2 or 3 times, and you can use him to go ahead and knock him down. And after a while, there you go. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one. Alright, then we have Grayson the Armorer. Now, himself is not really too crazy. He has a tendency to go ahead and drop these spikes almost everywhere. And then he has an attack that grabs you and brings you to him. So your biggest thing to do is either A, just avoid the attack itself, or make sure when you are in line with him throwing that there's no spikes in between him and you, because that's where most of your health is going to be coming from. Now his other attack is he has a tendency to jump towards you and whack you like no tomorrow. Now aside from that, he is a very kind of like single mode boss, so he's moving slow, you can use spells on him left and right, and throughout the course of the fight, you know, he kills little minions left and right, and then you have a pretty good chance of killing him off. Now, one good thing to watch out for is that as he puts down more and more spikes, they do not despawn unless you hit them. So over time, your fighting area with him is going to become smaller and smaller. So what I usually like to do is I'll just teleport, you know, distract him. Occasionally get hit and get dragged through the spots like no tomorrow. But using spells on him is usually the best way to go, especially since he is mainly a melee build. And dragging him away as far as you can from his little area where he has all the spikes is going to do you good in this. Now the second half of the boss fight, he also has an additional attack where he does a spin with his axe. You're going to watch out for that because not only will that knock you a little bit farther away, it has a tendency to knock you into the different spikes that he's laid down on the ground. Now, if you can avoid that, you're going to be good to go, and this boss will be nice and easy for you. Alrighty guys, I'll see you on the next boss. Alright, next up is Clive the Firestarter. Now, my biggest recommendation for this entire fight is going to be to lure him up the stairs away from the camp that he's originally in. Just because during the course of the fight, and I've died many times to prove it, he has his little Firestarter buddies that will go ahead and throw bombs at you while you're trying to dodge his own bombs. And if you know anything about this game, you and fire definitely do not mix. Now, his main attack after you get him up the stairs, as I'm showing in this video, is going to be to throw a bomb, and then it's going to spawn 3 more bombs, 3 more circles, and then 3 more after that, at a 3 times ratio. So you start with 1, then 3, then 9 bombs. But the nice thing about fighting him up there by the cliff is that it's a small enough area where most of those bombs are just going to bounce harmlessly off the map, and not on you. Now his other attack is he'll throw a bomb down on the ground, right where he's standing, and the circle will be much wider than the regular bombs, and that's something that you're going to have to avoid, and I usually would recommend teleporting out. Now apart from that, he has a pretty slow reaction time when it comes to his bombs, so you'll be able to get up on him, get a couple hits with your sword, axe, whatever you may have, and then run off. And if you just rinse and repeat that process, you're going to be pretty good to go in no time. Now, one caveat that has a tendency to come up is that once you get him to lower health, he will start running back to his main area. Not only to draw in extra support from his guys, but to attempt to heal. So that's the only thing you really got to watch out for when you're fighting him on this cliff, is that you got to be really quick, teleports, run, do whatever you got to do to stay within his peripheral so that he doesn't start generating health. And alright guys, let's Clive the Firestarter. I'll see you on the next one. Alright, so next up is the Putrid Rat. Now, he's one of those weirder bosses because you don't really find him in the wild, you don't really chase him down with your V-Bloods. What you do is you build a vermin nest, and then you put in the right materials and you can actually spawn them in. Now, it's really good to know that beforehand because I had no idea how it worked, and suddenly I had a boss in the middle of my base. So definitely something to watch out for. Now, throughout the course of this fight, your biggest thing that you're going to want to do is actually run around that vermin nest. So I would recommend placing it somewhere where you can keep on running it around. You can keep on kiting him throughout the entire encounter. Now his big attacks are going to be to suddenly go into rage mode and chase you down by doing little jumps that do damage. And his other attack is going to be to spawn rats on top of the last attack, where especially below 50% health, he will go ahead and create this bubble around him that will explode into a poisonous material. Now, if you're able to keep on kiting him, use teleportation very wisely here, then this isn't really that bad of a fight. You just gotta keep on running around in circles. And then the other big thing to watch out for is that if you run just a little bit too far from the actual vermin nest, so say you walked outside of your base or something of that nature, he'll fight you for a little bit, but he will eventually start going back to that nest. Usually by the time you get back there, he has already regained all his health. Now, this happened to me a few times, which is why I, again, would definitely recommend just run around that vermin's nest, and he'll keep on chasing you. And then, at that point, you're pretty good to go. Alrighty guys, this has been the Putrid Rat, and I will see you on the next one. Alrighty guys, next up is the Ferocious Bear. Now, one thing about him is, since he's in a lair, you can kind of sneak up on him, get ready, and then go ahead and hit him with some spells just to go ahead and get that initial bit of health gone. After that, he's usually pretty easy enough to go ahead and run up behind, especially when you teleport. He's going to attack your lower form, and you can do a spin attack on him or whatever weapon you may be using at the time. Now, apart from that nice little melee attack he has going on, he has a couple different other ones. One where he will hit the ground and rocks will spray almost everywhere. They're going to do a decent amount of damage if you get hit. And it is a close-knit circle going out about 5 times, just kind of spreading out. Now, after that, he also has a tendency to charge up, in which case he will be moving faster, attacking for more, and his hit time in his slow attack will be much faster. Now, his other attack that he has going on is that he has a tendency to go ahead and stop for a minute, gather up energy, and just charge at you like no tomorrow. So if you can avoid those different attacks throughout the course of the fight, by using teleport to get out of those little rocks and using spells as much as you can, you should be pretty much okay to go. But you do want to avoid getting too close to him, especially when he's in his fired up form. And then after dodging him left and right for, I would say, about 5 to 10 minutes, you will go ahead and have the granted ability to turn into a Vicious Bear, which is going to enable you to move on to our next couple bosses that we got coming up. Alrighty guys, that has been the Ferocious Bear, and I will see you on the next one. Alrighty guys, next up is Nicholas the Fallen. So he is the summoner of the bosses in Act 1, so you really gotta watch out for his ability to summon copious amounts of different archers, as well as melee skeletons. Your best bet's going to be to use a chaos teleportation, where you can go ahead and just teleport the different melee builds, go ahead and surround it, and they'll get lit on fire. Now, his other ability, especially when it's his first 50%, is going to be to cause you a fear, in which case you're just going to run away from him. You cannot control your character at this time. Now, his other attack is going to be to send a ball of energy at you, which is going to decrease a little bit of health, but really isn't that big of a deal if you do get hit. And then his other ability inside that first 50% is going to be to create this ball of red and go ahead and teleport into it while also causing an explosion. So this boss is particularly annoying to use spells on just because of all his different summons. But if you can get up on him, you'll be able to start knocking him out. Now, once you start getting him closer to 50% health, he has a tendency to summon balls of energy all around him that will go ahead and swim through the air in a circle. And if you get hit, you're going to lose about the same amount of health as you would if he was hitting you with this bolt. Now, if you can avoid that and just run up and hit him a bunch of times, you should be pretty good to go. But again, just watch out for his different summonings that he does, because he starts out with only a few, but after a while he ends up summoning more and more and more, and you end up with, for very quickly, 50 NPCs on you at the same time. Alright guys, that has been Nicholas the Fallen, and I will see you on the next one. Alrighty guys, next up is Pelora the Feywalker. Now, while she might seem like one of those innocent bosses that you're going to end up fighting in Act 1, she is far from. She's essentially a gardener that's been running around in her own little home, and well, you just need her abilities so you can go ahead and start growing yourself some different herbs. Now, her most annoying attack is going to be to summon minions that once you get hit by any of her spells, we go ahead and start healing her and healing the minion itself. So that's going to be your first priority, is to take out those minions whenever they do spawn. Now, her other attack is going to be a fast wolf that's going to hit you at a high speed and hurt you. Another attack of hers is going to be to spawn 3 different balls of energy that are going to swivel left and right as they come towards you. Now, her other ability is going to be to create a kind of explosion spell around her that's going to cause fear, in which case, just like Nicholas the Fallen, you're not going to be able to do anything during that time as far as controlling your character. Now, apart from those different issues that you run into with her, she is a relatively easy boss to kill, especially if you get right up on her. And there you go. Alrighty guys, that has been Pelora the Feywalker, and I will see you on the next one. And you died. Alright, and finally we come up to the big bad himself, the last boss of Act 1, Quincy the Bandit King. Now, the most annoying aspect about this guy's attack is not only his ability to summon people to help him during the fight, but for him to launch out with his shield this kind of like stream of spells that are going to hit you. Then if you manage to avoid that, the ground will also start erupting and causing damage when that explodes as well. So throughout the course of this fight, you're going to want to try and get him down to 50% as soon as possible, because while during the first act he will go ahead and charge you with his shield only once, after he hits 50%, he will go ahead and start attacking you almost consistently with his shield 3 times in a row. Now at the end of that 3rd time, you're going to be able to hit him as he's going to be stunned, almost recovering from those different attacks. The other annoying portion of this battle is going to be when he uses his shield to go ahead and reflect different spells back at you. So what I like to do is I like to use one spell on him, making sure it's not a double, and then wait for him to go ahead and show his shield. And then as soon as it's been about maybe a second or 2, you can use that double spell on him because his shield will disappear. Now, the best way to go ahead and drop him down is going to be to teleport in front of him in that first 50% and then go right behind him and attack him as much as possible. Alrighty guys, that has been Quincy the Bandit King, the last boss of Act 1, who once you kill him, you will not only be on Act 2, but you will be able to start getting some iron weapons, which are really going to help you in the future. Alrighty guys, that has been all the bosses in V Rising for Act 1. I appreciate you hanging out with me today, and if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe as it really helps me and the channel. Alrighty guys, have a wonderful day, and Celtic Leaf out.
Easy go.